You know, as a 20-year-old living the 21st century, I never really thought I would ever experience what it was like to watch an empire fall. I missed out on that whole Roman Empire thing. I was born 200 years too late to do any of that good old colonialism. And for a while I thought the fall of ancient Mesopotamia was going to be an L my ancestors had to hold for the rest of time. But looking at the current state of Deepwoken, I think I'm finally starting to feel what these niggas felt. Watching the real-time death of your favorite game is honestly a kind of pain I don't wish upon anybody. I don't know if it's the sunk cost fallacy talking, but watching the state of the game I've sunk hundreds, if not thousands of hours into, just suffer due to bad updates, laziness, and negligence is honestly just fucking harrowing. For a while I thought being constructive with my criticism was the way to meaningfully affect change, but after months of no real meaningful changes to the issues actively ruining this game, I don't really have the energy to be constructive anymore. The game that I enjoyed at some point is dead, and it's been replaced by some private server battlegrounds hell, and you know, I just gotta live with that. Today though, I do want to talk about how private servers ruin not only how Deepwoken is played, but everything that Deepwoken was meant to represent as a game, all while appeasing seemingly nobody. But you know, before I do that, please subscribe. We're super close to 4,000 subscribers, and if we could hit that before April, that'd be super duper rad and epic. Haven't gained a subscriber since 2018. Anyways, on to the video. I know this probably isn't a popular opinion, it definitely wasn't at the time, but I was never one of those people who was super duper anti-private server in Deepwoken. I don't know if everybody watching was around during the original great private server debate when Chime was first added to the game, but essentially back then Chime was basically used as a progression tool for skilled players to get luck as they leveled up. I'm not gonna lie, at the time it was introduced, I had no real issue with the Chime of Conflict. It offered players who were brave enough the ability to gain luck in an alternative way, all while not really taking away much from the main game. Even upon reaching max level, the skull system ensured players didn't just sit in Chime all day and actually had to engage with the world after their 3-hour Chime bender was over. With verse 2 obviously came changes to the game, so Chime had to adjust accordingly. With luck being removed entirely as a mechanic, there was no real reason to progress in Chime anymore, so players just stopped. An elo system was added and the game mode was shifted into more of a competitive PvP game mode. And big ass, thick, voluptuous, gigantic, enormous quotation marks when I say competitive, because anyone who thinks they're competitive playing Deepwoken is a fucking dork. I think the addition of elo and the changes to Chime as a whole kind of signaled the beginning of the end for not just Chime, but also Deepwoken. Because new Chime kind of just took old Chime and flipped it on its head. Whereas previously you would finish your build by playing Chime, now you finish your build and you just don't stop playing Chime. People just sit in Chime forever now, plugging away at their opponents, watching the funny number go up and down, all for nothing really. And to be totally blunt, I genuinely would not give a fuck if Deepwoken wanted to have some sort of competitive experience baked into it, but after the 2-year experiment that has been Chime elo, I just don't think Chime is that experience. Chime, the way it is currently, with the lack of a skull system, heavily encouraged players to just sit in a private server and grind endlessly to never really achieve anything of value, all while just killing the overworld in the process. Finding a good gank, especially recently, is harder than it's ever been, and when you finally do find a gank, it's a squad with the most degenerate builds you've ever seen, because overworld balance just doesn't matter anymore. It's gotten to the point where there's 2 luminants and 2 layers of the depths, but all anyone ever does is play Chime and Diluvian. This shit has gotten so bad that they made Chime 2, which is just gladiators, which is a mode for organized ganks. And I just think it's really funny that instead of fixing war mode and balancing the actual overworld gank system, you just threw ganks in a private server. The solution to every Deepwoken problem in 2025 is just to throw it in a fucking private server, dude. I knew the problem was really bad when war mode was initially released, dog. I don't know how many people actually played day 1 war mode, but besides some of the exploits people were using to win, like early on, war mode felt like how a gank should feel like. My guild against your guild in an actual war. And for the first time in a long time, an overworld event had actually good and desirable loot. War mode remained in this glorious state for all of 2 days before the Deepwoken developers decided to turn it to shit. The developers made it so solo players get 10 times the points for kills, and if a guild had too many members in a server, they received less points for a kill. Now, I'm not really mad about the anti-flood mechanic. That's cool and makes sense. You shouldn't be stacking 27 niggas in a server. That's just obscene and uncalled for. Why are you jumping people like that? I'm just wondering what kind of stupid fucking mouth-breathing parasite, super senior loner sack of shit, anti-social dork decided it was a good idea to give solo players 10 times the points. Why the fuck are we encouraging players to do war mode solo? Like, it's probably these fucking one-word YouTube fucking comp player cornballs, bro. All of you niggas, bro. You all got no fucking friends. So you fucking requested Archmage, please, bro. Let me do war mode solo, bro. You guys are all fucking losers. I hate you niggas, bro. Like, just ruining a good thing, bro. Like, that shit is actually crazy. Like, guild adverts is free, bro. Just phone a friend. But to get back to the topic at hand, bro, war mode after the changes I mentioned prior has never really been the same. And I feel like I'm one of the 5 people who actually still does it. And at this point, it's purely for love of the game, bro, because I know damn well the fucking loot isn't worth it. It just sucks to me that a game mode like war mode, that was as promising as war mode, and actually brought life to the game the way war mode did, was just tossed in the bin. And besides this shitty Bell redesign, hasn't been updated since, all because fucking private servers. I feel like some of the more insidious, somewhat recent uses of private servers have been in the realm of PvE. I know that PvE is the golden goose you don't really touch in Deepwoken, but just this once, I think I'm gonna go there. I don't think you should be able to sit in a private server with no risk and farm infinite relics. I think that's really stupid, actually. The loot in these PvE private servers like Diluvian Mechanism and Serpent Hollows is some of the best in the entire game. And the best part about this process is getting the loot is fucking child's play on the average PvE build. I feel like a lot of the time, PvE players in Deepwoken are accustomed to stupid shit, quite bluntly, and they start to see it as normal. So I gotta, just grab them and shake them real good to lock them back in and let them know that, no, getting 20 relics per Diluvian run isn't normal, and that shouldn't be happening in a fucking hardcore permadeath game. The annoying thing is that, I fully understand why people defend Diluvian. Number one, the barrier of entry is really low. All you need is just yourself and a PvE build. Number two, the loot pool is just the best in the game and you get the best stuff from Diluvian. And number three, and what I think is the most important reason for most people, the fear of depths gankers. And while I do understand all of these qualms, especially the one having to do with depths gankers, the rewards for sitting in a private server just shouldn't outweigh the benefits for actually engaging with the in-game world. If Diluvian was just an endless game mode that existed simply to test your PvE build against mobs with reduced loot, I think that would be infinitely healthier for the game, because the PvE game mode where you are at actual risk of being depths ganked and wiped, hell mode, is just worse loot wise, and I don't think that's very fair personally. I don't know, man, it just sucks a lot to me that the reason that I love Deepwoken, its world, has kind of just slowly and painfully been left to die over the past year. And it especially sucks because we were told it wasn't gonna be like this, and Deepwoken would be an open world roguelike RPG, but right now we're just in private server hell, just an inescapable purgatory of Chime and Diluvian, and a little bit of Serpent Hollows if you're a man of culture. I remember back before Layer 2, back before the Conquest rumors, maybe even before Chime, there was a feature the devs promised that would be introduced into the game at some point, that feature being Overworld Ranks. Overworld Ranks would have essentially been a system that displayed a player's rank in the overworld based on how many players or bosses the players had defeated in the overworld. Kinda like the current guild score system. This feature though, it just never ended up releasing. And instead, we got the guild score system that is objectively dog shit and boneless. It is somehow the only ranked reward in the game more worthless than top 250 in Chime, because you don't even get a shiny name, you get nothing. The whole system is also just a participation trophy as the guild ranking goes up to 1000. I must confess, I'm disappointed because thinking about overworld ranks and how they never made it into the game, it just pisses me off. Because in that time, we've gotten multiple updates to Chime, like a ranked elo system, overworld titles, new maps, skulls removed, voice chat removed. Are you noticing a trend here? I just think it's really sad that Deepwoken built itself up as this game that was hyper focused on this world and its lore and how the player character interacts with it and other player characters. And at least to me, it's kind of heart-wrenching watching it turn into this individualistic monstrosity where everyone just sits in a private server by themselves and or with one other person in Chime, farming win and make the virtual number go up. The plague of competitive gaming strikes again, and I don't know, man. It's not every day you just get to watch your favorite game die. It makes me, it kind of makes me want to cry a little bit, But subscribing would wipe my tears. You should subscribe to my YouTube channel. I might make a video on like the plague of competitive gaming next, because I do think the lean into competitive really did kill Deepwoken and turn the game over for the negative. And I don't know if that would do numbers though. Let me know if let me know in the comments if you guys are interested in more general video essays on the Noble channel, because that's definitely something I'm interested in making. This script took forever to write. I don't even, I'm so tired recording this. I'm probably gonna go to bed before I edit. Y'all be safe, subscribe, I have to say that, and I'll see y'all later.